What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to the channel. This is something that's been suggested to me many times over the last couple of years, and I just have never gotten around to do it. However, I think it will be quite fun, so let's ask ChatGPT some questions about Dungeon Defenders games. Let's see, what do we want to start off with? Let's just go right for it. What is the best Dungeon Defenders game? Oh man, this one is going to have a very mixed response, I would imagine. Let's see what it says. Determining the best Dungeon Defenders game can be subjective, as it depends on individual preferences and what aspects of the game appeal to you the most. That's fair. However, many fans of the series consider the original Dungeon Defenders, released 2011, to be the best. It introduced the unique blend of tower defense and action RPG elements that the series is known for, along with its charming art style and cooperative multiplayer gameplay. That said, Dungeon Defenders 2, released in 2017, also has its own merits, including improved graphics, more diverse heroes, and refined gameplay mechanics. Ultimately, it comes down to personal preference and which features you prioritize in a game. You know what? That is an insanely fair response. I really think it is. You know, of course, a lot of fans of this channel, their favorite game is Dungeon Defenders 2, but I really believe that if every single player of all time in all Dungeon Defenders games was polled, I think Dungeon Defenders 1 would probably win. You know, obviously we don't have that data to say either way, but I think that's a pretty fair response. Which Dungeon Defenders game should I play in 2024? You might want to consider playing Dungeon Defenders 2. While the original Dungeon Defenders game has its own charm and appeal, Dungeon Defenders 2 offers a more modern experience with updated graphics, additional content, and ongoing support from the devs. It also features more heroes to choose from, expanded gameplay mechanics, and regular updates and events to keep the game fresh. Alright, it is already not necessarily 100% correct on this one. Plus, since it's the more recent release, you're likely to find a more active player base and community engagement. However, if you prefer the classic feel of the original game or have a group of friends who enjoy it, you might still find plenty of enjoyment in revisiting or discovering Dungeon Defenders. Ultimately, the choice depends on your preferences and what you're looking for in a Dungeon Defenders experience. So, I mean, the second half of that, I think, is pretty true. The first half of it, Dungeon Defenders, the original, has way more stuff going on in it than DD2 does. I mean, that's just fact. You know, there's constantly ongoing community events. There's a super active Discord server that's, you know, pretty targeted around the original game. Dungeon Defenders 2, of course, has its Discord. But, I mean, I personally feel like there's much more events going on in the original Dungeon Defenders. DD2 does have more heroes to choose from, I think, yeah. Regular updates. I mean, both games are getting updates at this point, so it's not completely upgraded there. But ChatGPT says you should try out Dungeon Defenders 2. Let's see. Well, on that note, 10 reasons I should play Dungeon Defenders 2. Let's see. Sure, here are 10 reasons why you might want to consider playing Dungeon Defenders 2. Modern graphics. Dungeon Defenders 2 features updated graphics compared to the original game, providing a more visually appealing experience. I agree with that statement. Of course, some people like the art style and everything of DD1 more. They're both using the same game engine. I personally think Dungeon Defenders 2 is a really pretty game. Expanded content. With Dungeon Defenders 2, you get access to a larger variety of heroes, maps, enemies, and weapons compared to the first game. That is 100% not true. There is more heroes, but Dungeon Defenders, the original game, has... I'm pretty sure it's got, like, a lot more maps than DD2. Ongoing support. The developers continue to support Dungeon Defenders 2 with regular updates, patches, and new content, ensuring that the game remains engaging and fresh. They do. Strategic gameplay. Dungeon Defenders 2 combines tower defense and action RPG elements, requiring strategic thinking and coordination to defend against waves of enemies. Very true there as well. Cooperative multiplayer. Game supports co-op multiplayer, allowing you to team up with friends or other players online to tackle challenges together. Character progression. You can level up your heroes, unlock new abilities, and customize their gear to suit your playstyle, providing a sense of progression and accomplishment. Endless replayability. With multiple difficulty levels, endless modes, and randomized loot, Dungeon Defenders 2 offers plenty of replay value, ensuring that no two playthroughs are exactly the same. Well, that last part of the statement is a little off, as that's kind of mainly referring to like a roguelike game, you know, which Dungeon Defenders 2 is definitely not. But everything else there is true. Every Dungeon Defenders game offers an enormous amount of replay value. Community interaction. Joining the Dungeon Defenders 2 community gives you the opportunity to interact with other players, share strategies, and participate in events and competitions. Yes, no. There are no community events or competitions in Dungeon Defenders 2. Game's just not set up for it. Free-to-play model. Dungeon Defenders 2 is free-to-play, allowing you to experience the core gameplay without any upfront cost. You can choose to purchase cosmetic items or other optional content if you wish to support developers or enhance your experience. I agree 100% with that one too. I mean, just even if someone plays Dungeon Defenders 2, they download it for free, they end up, you know, thinking, okay, it's not the game for them. Just playing through the campaign, just spending that couple of hours or whatever to get through the campaign is still a very enjoyable experience, and it doesn't cost you anything. So no reason not to at least give it a look, right? Constant evolution. The game continues to evolve over time based on player feedback and developer updates, meaning that there's always something new to discover and enjoy in Dungeon Defenders 2. That's really a pretty good list. Let's take that one step further. Let's see. 10 reasons I should not play Dungeon Defenders 2. Let's see. Let's see what ChatGPT says for the dirties. While Dungeon Defenders 2 offers many appealing features, it might not be the right game for everyone. Here are 10 reasons why you might choose not to play Dungeon Defenders 2. Time commitment. Dungeon Defenders 2 can be time consuming. I mean, yep. But I think, anyone who's familiar with any Dungeon Defenders game, you know, the name Dungeon Defenders means grind in Ethereum. There's no doubt. I mean, they're all very grindy games. There's a big time commitment in all of them. But the other side of that is it a time commitment or is it more gameplay value? You know, if you don't mind the grind, it's without a doubt more gameplay value. You know, you're getting lots of hours of gameplay. Microtransactions. While the core game is free to play, DD2 does offer optional microtransactions for cosmetic items and convenience features, which may not appeal to players who prefer games without monetization elements. Very true, very true. The learning curve. The game's blend of tower defense and action RPG mechanics can have a steep learning curve, requiring time and effort to master, which may not be suitable for casual gamers or those looking for a more accessible experience. I mean, I think that's true too, even though the learning curve is very soft. If you read the loading screens and if you look at your tooltips, the learning curve is not really that much greater than many other games. But there is a definite learning curve for someone who doesn't want to think about those things. So, I mean, I can partially agree with that one for sure. Grinding. Progression in Dungeon Defenders 2 can sometimes involve repetitive grinding for experience points, currency, or loot, which may not be enjoyable for players who prefer more varied or story-driven gameplay experiences. I mean, that's just 100% true about all Dungeon Defenders games. They're grindy games. Like I said, Dungeon Defenders means grind in Ethereum. So, without a doubt, it's a grindy mofo. We all know this. And, you know, in part, that's why so many of us love it as well. Community size. While Dungeon Defenders 2 has an active community, it may not be as large or as active as other online multiplayer games, which could affect matchmaking times or the availability of multiplayer partners. Now, that's true. It's a small community. We all know it. It is a very passionate community, though. There's no doubt there. It's not going to affect matchmaking times, but the availability of multiplayer partners for certain. Balance issues. Like many live service games, Dungeon Defenders 2 may experience balance issues or changes over time, which could affect the enjoyment of certain aspects of the game for some players. I mean, every game has balance issues. I don't even know what to say to that one. I mean, there's not too many games that are perfectly balanced out there. There's always a meta. Solo experience. While the game supports solo play, some content may be challenging or less enjoyable without teammates, which may not appeal to players who prefer to play alone. I mean, you think first off, a solo player can play through the vast majority of DD2 content, where grouping really helps. First off, it's a fun factor. It's always more fun to play a game with your friend, right? But where grouping is really required is like the super high onslaught floors, like the last 30, 40 floors. And really, mainly, that's just that tempo rotation. The high survival waves and then boss fights are going to be much faster with a well-oiled machine and an organized group. So that one, if you like to play solo, by all means, play Dungeon Defenders 2, as you can complete just 1,000+ hours of gameplay easily by yourself without having any issue of not having another player to play with. Technical issues. Like any online game, Dungeon Defenders 2 may experience technical issues such as server downtime, bugs, or performance issues, which could affect the overall experience for some players. I mean, it's the same thing there. Every game has that. It's not even just online games. I mean, of course, online games have an added layer of possible issues. But I think that's, technical concerns are a problem in every game. Limited platforms. Dungeon Defenders 2 may not be available on all gaming platforms. I mean, when you count in Switch and mobile, absolutely. But, PC, PlayStation, Xbox, it's there. Personal preference. Ultimately, whether or not to play Dungeon Defenders 2 comes down to personal preference. If the game's mechanics, style, or community don't resonate with you, it's perfectly okay to explore other gaming options that better suit your tastes. I mean, that's true. Very true. It's not a game for everybody. The people who play it absolutely love it, but it's not a game for everybody. There is no doubt about it. Everyone's personal enjoyment should definitely come from, what they want to get out of their game. All right. Let's see. Let's ask one more. Let's go something a little bit more technical. ChatGPT has really mostly nailed the majority of this so far. Not a whole lot of serious wrongs, a few here and there, but let's say something a little more direct, like, what shards should I use on Flame Aura in Dungeon Defenders 2? Let's check this one out. There's no way it will get this right. Let's see. Choosing the right shards for your Flame Aura in Dungeon Defenders 2 depends on your playstyle, the specific build you're aiming for, and the content you're tackling. However, here are some popular shards that players often use with Flame Auras. Power Transfer increases defense power. Well, not anymore. Now it increases crit chance, but, Power Transfer is an option. Defense Rate increases attack rate. Good stuff there. Deadly Strikes. They got this one, the description is wrong, but it's definitely a good one. Deadly Strikes, of course, is increased range. Vampiric Empowerment grants lifesteal to the Flame Aura, allowing it to heal itself by dealing damage. Where on earth did it even get that information from? That is not even remotely correct for Vampiric Empowerment. And then Destruction. Same thing here. We got a bad tooltip. increases the damage of critical hits, enhancing the overall damage output of the flame aura. I mean, it does increase the damage of critical hits, but it increases the defense power, which of course in turn increases the damage of critical hits. So it's not wrong, but it's definitely not accurate. Sharpened Spikes increases the damage dealt to enemies that are inside the flame aura, making it more effective at clearing groups of enemies. That, of course, is 100% an incorrect description for blockade defense. Defense crit damage increases the damage of critical hits, specifically for defenses. Further enhances the effectiveness of deadly strikes and destruction cards. See, it was doing so good until it threw that in on the end. Fortification increases defense health. I mean, not one you would want to use on a flame aura, of course, but it does increase defense health. Speed boost. This is a good one. Increases movement speed, allowing the flame aura to cover more ground and reach enemies more quickly. There you go, y'all. You all heard it here. Get that speed boost shard on your flame auras. ChatGPT says so, and you could make those run around a little bit faster. Explosive Shield deals explosive damage when hit, providing additional crowd control and damage to enemies that attack the flame aura. Well, that one we all know is way out there as well, and just not even remotely correct. But that was a fun little thing. I haven't played around with ChatGPT a lot, and I've been wanting to go in and ask it some Dungeon Defenders questions for a while now, and definitely fun. If you guys like this video, you want me to do another one, throw some ChatGPT questions in. Give me some questions to ask, and I'll do a follow-up video if enough of you all want to see it. But that will do it for now. Thanks an absolute ton for watching, and I will see ya next time around. Take it easy.